Hello, I am so glad that you're here today. We are going to be talking about procrastination and the stress around it and how to handle that stress. So, procrastination, as we know, is very stressful, and it's stressful for a couple of reasons. It is stressful because you either have something you think you should do that you don't want to do, or you have something that you want to do, but you're unsure about yourself in doing it. So, in the first example, if you think you should, but you don't want to do it, there's a conflict, right? So, that conflict creates this sort of discord, which is stressful. If you have something that you want to do, but either you're unsure of how, or you're unsure of your skill level, maybe you're afraid of failing, maybe you're afraid of being judged, maybe you're afraid of doing it wrong, then all of that creates stress. And stress in your body is the amygdala. It's the survival brain coming in and saying, okay, we're in danger. We need to narrow the focus so that you can either get out of here, run as fast as you can, or you can fight, right? And so all of the blood goes to your muscles so that you're a superhero in either of those, but it doesn't go to your seeing perspective, thinking creatively, being able to make decisions. It's instinct, go, fight, or flight. However, in this day and age, we're not often in those kinds of dangers. We're not trying to run away from something that's attacking us. We're not trying to fight something that's attacking us. Usually we're fighting ourselves, right? Or we're feeling confronted by scenarios, not necessarily dangerous people. Sometimes, obviously, that is the case. But most of the time when we feel stress, it is all in our minds, the things that we're creating. And so what we do instead of fight or flight is we freeze. And that's procrastination, right? You've got something, there's a thing to be done, and we are freezing and not doing it. Maybe we're doing something else. Maybe we are doing nothing at all. Maybe we're trying to numb it out with like scrolling social media or other forms of kind of buffering, numbing, alcohol, food, overworking. Those kind of things we'll use to not do the thing that feels stressful. It's also how we talk to ourselves in that stress that makes it more stressful. If you've got something you should do, but you don't want to, you're like beating yourself up. Just do it. Why haven't you done it already? Man, if you'd already done it, it would be over. Here you go again. And if you're have that sort of insecurity, then you're like, oh, you're going to fail. You're going to do it wrong. You should probably just stay in the cave. Your mind is going to take you to those places of safety instead of go do the thing that puts you out there, right? So all of that feels stressful. The blanket of that is procrastination is stressful no matter why it's happening the way it is. And that stress is exacerbated by the way we talk to ourselves. So what I want to do is give you two things you can do in your mind and two things you can do with your body to help that stress, to mitigate that fight or flight in the amygdala, the survival brain, calm that down so that then you can go into your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain. Your thinking brain is where you're making decisions. It's where you're thinking creatively. It's where you're seeing the big picture and then deciding what you want to do. So the first thing that I want to highlight is we often think about when you're thinking about the thing, you're in that stress, you're not wanting to do it. we tend to go sort of to the worst case scenario about it in our minds. And so when you're in that procrastination and sort of in that state of overwhelm, what I want you to do is think what matters most. So if you ask yourself that question, okay, here I am, I'm procrastinating. What matters most to me right now? What that's going to allow you to do is, number one, you're going to look around. you're going to sort of catalog. You're going to do a quick catalog of what is going on. Am I procrastinating a big project? Am I procrastinating meeting with someone that I don't want to necessarily meet with? Am I procrastinating the laundry, right? So I'm looking around and I'm saying, what is available for me to do right now? If I were going to procrastinate, would I do laundry? I wish. That's like my favorite form of procrastination is like quick little something, throw a little laundry in. But look and say, what matters to me right now? So you'll catalog what's available. And then it's this sort of system of, does any of it matter to me? Maybe, maybe not. But what matters to me most? Maybe it's not doing the thing. Maybe it's doing the thing. You get to decide where is your priority in that moment. Where actually is your desire in that moment? This is very different from motivation. Motivation is overrated. Motivation, you think, I've got the strength to do the thing. I've got the mental strength to do the thing. That is very different than feeling like procrastination and trying to take the first step. I am not a motivated person, but I'm a very committed person. I personally I can look around and say, okay, I'm going to do this thing first, and then I'm going to do that thing. That I am able to do. So this is what I'm suggesting to you. Decide what matters most. It gives you a catalog. It lets you prioritize. It also allows you to connect to your future self a little bit. When you think about what matters, you get to say what matters to me now. And why does that, if you dig deeper a little bit, why does that matter? Because it will mean good things for me coming up, right? It's not just that we want to feel good now. That's what we do when we procrastinate, is we decide to buffer in some way from what we really need to do, and we just feel good now. When we think about what matters to me, we get to think about what matters to my whole, right? And so accessing that future self gives you a little bit more clear way of getting into the thing that you're procrastinating. It gives you a focal point also. So when you think about what matters to me now, okay, all of a sudden, I don't have to think about all the things at once. I can just for a minute think about this one thing, do the one thing, and then move to the next, what matters to me most right now. So it gives you that focal point. You're focused on it meaning something to you, and you're taking whatever little action, focused action that may be. It grounds you in the now. What step can I take now? While also pulling you towards that future of what matters. So the second action is super cliche, but here's why it works. Take a deep breath. When you decide to breathing happens automatically, right? We don't have to think about breathing, but when we do think about breathing, we are making a conscious decision and we are in control of that. So life often happens really fast. A lot of why, a big reason why procrastination comes at us so much is we feel like life is really busy. I can't get ahead. I can't keep up. I don't know. I'm always feel behind. So what taking that deep breath in is saying, oh, I decide right now, and you take that breath in, breathe it all the way down to your feet, and then you exhale that all the way out through the top, imagining it going through the top of your head. Of course, it comes out of your nose or your mouth. But I like to imagine just the top of my head opening up for that breath out. And now I'm in control. I'm also grounded. I'm all the way through my feet and all the way through my head. I'm lengthening, I'm taller. And I have control of that couple of seconds. Even if I don't have control of my whole life, I have control of that couple of seconds. So it's cliche, but we keep saying it because it is actually so valuable to just bring you into right now, not into should, not into feel good, whatever. It's not about feeling anything. It's about being in control of in and out. The third thing that I want to recommend that you do is walking. It can be walk around the room. It can be walk around the house. It can be walk around the block. It can be take a walk with the dog, right? Whatever that means for you. The reason this is important is back in the day of hunter-gatherer, actual stress happening, the way that our survival brain and the rest of our brain is set up to work is we have a traumatic event, and then through cross body stabilization. So when I'm walking, pit, pat, I'm going across my body. I'm left, right. I am stabilizing my body, and that allows the brain, the engine, if you will, to process the traumatic event. Is this something that I need to scan the environment for all the time now? Am I hyper vigilant for this danger? Or is this a one-time event that I can put in this box that when I see this scenario, then I should be on alert and in danger for the danger? So it allows the processing of the brain. But remember, we're not in the stress anymore of seeing the animal that wants to kill us. We're the animal now. We're the ones that are generating that stress. And so it's harder to categorize, right? It's harder to put in the bucket. But what we can do is, again, use the body's processing mechanism, pit, pat, left, right, left, right. What happens when I step on my left foot, my right foot is in the air. My body, my core has to stabilize so I don't fall over one way or the other. And then I'm able to put my right foot down, lift my left, balance in mid-air, and then step. So there's a lot going on in the body to transfer the weight. It seems like walking is a very easy thing to do, but truly it's a really big deal. If you've ever injured your foot or your ankle or your knee or your hip, you know you kind of got to figure out how to do that again. Learning to walk again is a big deal. I dislocated my ankle about 10 years ago, and I was off of it for 2 months. When I learned how to walk again, I can't tell you what a mental situation that was. My mom totally made fun of me. She was like, not looking so stable there. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't feel that stable either. Walking's a big deal. Gives you the opportunity to process. It is cross body stabilization. If you can't go for a walk, you can just simply tap left and right. And that is a calming thing too. But I really do recommend the walk. If you want to reach for your phone and check your email or scroll on one of the socials for a minute, then you can also take that time to move around your environment. It doesn't have to take much just to get that walking. Okay, so number 4 is back to a mental process. And that is the activity of saying, I appreciate something you appreciate because. Here's what this does. I appreciate allows you again to scan the environment. You're looking for things that are a thumbs up for you. You're looking for things that are good for you. I appreciate whatever. And I might say, I appreciate a blue sky. Neat. Who cares, Missy? I appreciate a blue sky because I can see the light in my eyes. I can see the color. I can see when I go into the why, then not only do I connect to that thing, but I'm also connecting to me. I'm also giving myself the opportunity to talk to myself. I have a client that says, Missy, now you're going to tell me to give myself a hug. And she's always mad about it. She's like, I'm never giving myself a hug. This is the giving yourself a hug. This is what I don't actually usually recommend hugging yourself. If it works for you, go for it. But that's not usually a method I give. But anyway, this is a way of giving yourself a hug. I appreciate this external to me thing. You can do it internally too. But I mean, I can't tell you how many times my dog Sunny is in there. I appreciate Sunny because she gives me physical contact, because she's really soft. She's lovely to look at. She gives me a reason to walk. She's a puppy and is going to eat the house down if I don't get her enough exercise. And so she gives me a reason for that pit, pat, pit, pat. So I appreciate Sunny for all of those reasons that are good for me. I mean, bless her, she's good for everybody, but I love her a lot for me. So it allows you to connect to you. It allows you again to scan your environment, find what's important for you, and live into that a little. Now, listen, none of this takes long. None of this you have to go out and spend any money on. None of this is going to take hours out of your day. If you ran through all 4 of these, you could do it in less than 5 minutes, maybe 2, right? So what matters most? Okay, here I find myself, I'm in procrastination mode. I find myself speaking negatively to myself because I'm in it. There you go. God, Missy, just do it. Right? Here you go again. You're going to mess that up. Okay, pause. What's important to me right now? Scan the environment. Make a decision. Practice the skill of making a decision of what's important. It's a big thing with procrastination too. Making decisions can seem really hard. I'm practicing the skill of making a decision. What's important to me right now? Little things. We're not talking about ending, wars or the environment, or it's little things. What's in my environment right now? Allows you to connect what is available to you and get in the process of making a decision and prioritizing. And then what is one step? What is the step that you can take because you're looking at your future self, your big picture, and it's important to your whole, right? So then taking a breath. Well, I mean, depending on how many seconds you want to make it in and how many seconds you want to make it out, I'm going to guess less than 10 seconds either way. You can draw that out as long as you want. Repeat that as many times as you want, but that's a quick one. Ground all the way to the floor. Exhale through the head, all the way through the head. You're taller, you're more oxygenated, you can think more clearly, and you're ready to go. Even if you don't walk, if you take your right hand, touch your left foot, stand up, lift your left foot. You can even hold on if you need to, but getting that cross body stabilization. I'm going to touch my right my left hand to my right foot, and then I'm going to lift my right foot off of the ground. That gives you cross body stabilization. Do that a couple of times. Again, we're maybe 20 seconds deep here. And then I appreciate because as that can be as quick as it takes you to just scan your environment, pick a something and say why. Connect to yourself, connect to your world, release some of that stress. Again, your amygdala, your survival brain is narrowing your focus. It wants you to get the heck out of there. It wants you to be able to fight, or it allows you to freeze. It is not the thing that gets you going. It's not a taskmaster. It is emergency mode. So any of those 4 things, you can choose one, you can choose the 4 of them. Calm your nervous system down, and then it's easier to make decisions. Then you can connect to yourself and move forward. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to this. I encourage you, when you feel in that sort of freeze mode of procrastination, it's a natural process. When we are stressed, we react to that. We create this stress for so many different reasons. I have another procrastination masterclass that talks a lot more about the why we procrastinate and some of the skills about what you're thinking about the procrastination that can help you with that. So go back and look for that as well. But here, I want you to just mitigate the stress of it. So if this speaks to you and you find yourself in that stress of procrastination, I'd love to meet with you and do a consultation and help you identify what it is that's holding you back, where you're getting sort of stuck in that procrastination, where you're finding that stress barrier, and help you take some specific steps for you to move through that. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you next week.